Hey guys, welcome to this NC Preps weekly report. As you can tell, we got a little compressed group as Chris is moving into his new house and Brianna's in the heat of her softball season. We're also in the smack dab middle of the football playoffs. It was a crazy first week, and I do not expect that to end with the second round coming up on Friday. I know a few of us went to a few games. Dina obviously was keeping up with everything around the state. Dina, just talk about one or two of the games that were kind of the buzz around the state as the top games in North Carolina.
For this week, I mean, you got a lot. You got a very good matchup in the 1A West. Mitchell County against Robbinsville. That could be, I mean, I'll be honest, if they're both in the West, that could be a state championship matchup.
Yeah.
I mean, both of those teams are very good. Mitchell has had a great win over 3A Statesville, and so they're looking to be really good. And then Robbinsville, defending champs, they had a scare last week. Winston-Salem Prep went up there and battled the Knights. Knights won in double overtime, so that's a good game. Sorry, my cat. She has to she has to photobomb the show. In the 2A, we have a good game in the I believe the 2 Big A, Salisbury and Burns. I believe that's going to be a good game. I'm looking at my list. 3A, a good one, I believe, is going to be the Weddington Mount Tabor game. That's going to be that's undefeated 2 teams. Weddington with all their state championships. That's going to be a good game. And then in 4A, I mean, you got the rematch. The big 4A got Vance and Huff for round 2. That's going to be a really interesting game. So we'll go on and talk about the whole schedule here in a little bit. But just want to ask Tally and Chelsea how they're doing. I mean, I guess Tally still. Are you still pitching and for A.L. Brown? And Chelsea, are you still playing lacrosse or are you in another sport?
My season's over. I'm just doing my off-season scrimmages and workouts, so that's already keeping me busy.
Yeah, I've been in season. Today I had the night off. Well, I had practice, but didn't have a game today. So we are 5-4 right now, and we have a game against South Meck tomorrow. So I'll keep you guys updated.
Hey.
Mm-hmm. Well, Jack's our baseball hardball guy over here, so I know he's been practicing for those Richmond's Wildcats. So how's the season going, Jack?
We've had a pretty crazy start of the season. Our football team went into quarantine before the last week of the football season ended. So that overlapped with the first week of baseball. So none of the football players that were in quarantine have been able to try out for baseball yet. They come back tomorrow, I think, would be their 14th day. So we basically only had maybe a little bit less than 2/3 of the kids that normally try out for baseball because they are in quarantine. So we had a scrimmage against White Oak yesterday. I thought both teams did really well. I'm on JV. We won. I think we have a good group of kids. I'm excited for the season. Yeah, we have 2 hats. I like this one. We have one for away and one for home. I think Gray's away.
Oh,
Yeah.
It got the blue Clemson tiger paw kind of.
Yeah, so it's got the paw, and then the white one. The white one has Rice University, kind of like how their R is. That's kind of the R on the white hat. So, yeah, pretty stylish.
Cool. Well, Chelsea, I think, didn't you have an interview, but we have technical problems. Could you just tell us who you interviewed and what they had to say?
Yeah, I unfortunately lost all the footage of the Zoom, so many technical difficulties, but I was able to save our questions and responses. So I interviewed Zion Myers, who is a running back for my school at Sanderson. He's in my class of 23, and he's played varsity both freshman and sophomore year, and just as soon as he came on the team, he's made a really big impact and is a big stud. So I just asked him, after completing your second season of varsity football as a sophomore, talk about your impact. And he talked about, how coach has been able to make plays for his scoring ability and just coming on as a freshman, winning games off the bat and just really getting in with the seniors and upperclassmen, how he's been able to work well with them. And then looking back on the past season, this season, what was his favorite game? And this was actually maybe 2 games before playoffs were dropped. And he says Sanderson versus Broughton, super well performance, 6 touchdowns, 200 rushing yards, and 24 carries. So pretty good performance, I'd say. And then his goal for the season were to make playoffs, and they unfortunately missed it. But he was still pretty satisfied with the hard work the team and himself put in. So, yeah. And then just going into his – oh, sorry, you go ahead.
No, you finish yours and I'll talk after.
All right, and then I just had describe your game style, talked about how he was a bell cow leading the team, and then just quick and successful to finishing plays, just demonstrating leadership and sportsmanship.
Yeah, I think based on what Chris has been saying since the beginning of the season, Sanderson had a good football team, but with the playoffs being so compressed this year, there were a lot of good teams that didn't make the playoffs. Like Lake Norman didn't make the playoffs. There were a ton of good
South
teams.
Point.
Yeah, there were a ton of good teams that didn't make the playoffs that definitely would have been able to prove themselves. So I think it also it's been good for the playoffs. Like there weren't a lot of there were a couple of blowouts in the first round, but there weren't a ton. And I think every single team that made the playoffs, the playoffs were solid teams. So I think now we're in the second round. I mean, there may be 1 or 2 games that really aren't that close. I know Tarboro I know they had a pretty easy first round, but that's just because they're in 1A. So yeah.
Well, let's go over these matchups. I've got them wrote down, and if you guys got any thoughts, in the 1A East, number 8 Pamlico at number 5 Northside Pinetown.
I was surprised Pamlico beat who were they playing? No, never mind. Sorry, I thought they were playing Washington. Yeah, keep going. Sorry.
Number 3 Bargrass Charter at number 1, I believe, Northampton. And then in the 1A West, number 4 Murphy at number 1 Elkin, number 3 Mitchell at number 2 Robbinsville. I see, and I hate to say it, but I have a very big feeling that the western part is going to probably win that part of that state championship because those 4 teams there in the West, they're all very good.
Yeah.
I've not heard much from those Eastern schools. Northampton made it last year, and Robbinsville just demolished them last year. So
Yeah.
those 2 Western games, they could be toss-ups. Murphy could beat Elkin, Mitchell can beat Robbinsville, and vice versa. So, you guys got any thoughts on the 1A matchups?
I think Beargrass Charter had a crazy game against Perquimans. I think they had a big win over Northside Pinetown earlier in the season. So I think that's a team I know usually the charter schools that you see succeeding in like basketball and stuff like that. It's not as common in football, but I think they may be able to give Northampton a run for their money. And obviously Pamlico with King Tut down in Pamlico, they'll be good as long as he's there. So coming out of the East, I think, like you said, I mean, to be honest, kind of like the same way with the West. I mean, I think any of those teams could win those 2 games. So I think 1A is going to be a toss-up for those couple of games.
1AA, you got a very interesting matchup. I think it's for the winner of that, and definitely he's got an upper hand of making it to the finals. Holmes against Tarboro, they've met about every year.
Yeah.
It's a regular occurrence there in the Eastern.
Tarboro always has their number.
Yeah, they've been very good. And then number 3 East Carteret at number 2 Lewisburg, and in the West, Polk County number 8 advanced due to COVID reasons. North Stanley couldn't play, and they will battle number 4 North Rowan, and then number 3 Pine Lake Prep versus number I forget what number they are.
Number 2.
Number East Surrey. They play at East Surrey. I think there's going to be another rematch. East Surrey and Tarboro version 3. So they'll have the tiebreaker. That's just my take on that. You guys got anything?
Well, it's not necessarily big football related, but East Carter at Lewisburg, 2 multi-sport athletes there. The quarterback at Lewisburg is going to A&T to play baseball, and then wide receiver for East Carteret, Benny Brooks, led them to, I think, the 3rd round of the basketball playoffs. He had like 40 points and a win over Granville Central. So 2 dual sport athletes right there. That's about all I have for those schools. I think
interviewed the A&T commit, right?
Yeah, Jaheem Brown.
Yeah.
He actually plays for the same travel ball baseball team organization that I play for. So
Cool.
he's a special talent. I think he's cousins with Tariq Cohen, who's in the NFL now. So pretty interesting.
Yeah. Well, we're going to go to 2A. Some powerhouses. Traditional powerhouses. Number 4 seeded Wallace Road Hills goes to number 1 Reedsville. Number 7 Eastern Randolph versus number 3 Northeastern. In West, 2A West, number 4 Shelby at number 1 Hendersonville, and number 3 Mountain Pleasant at number 2 Mountain Heritage. You look at these teams, and something that stands out is, and I know the fans in high school football are just salivating over this Reedsville Shelby possible matchup because it is every year. Those 2 fan bases on the message boards, they go crazy because both of them are outstanding. They've won numerous state championships.
Yeah.
But it just makes it special when those 2 teams are in the same bracket, bragging rights. So I think, but I'm not gonna. There's still some good teams in there. Northeastern has had some runs to the state championship as well, and we know what kind of history Wallace Rose Hill has had, and so some good matchups there.
Yeah, I think I kind of with Wallace being close to me, I've kind of heard about them a little bit. I think they're a young team, so I expect Reedsville to. I mean, Reedsville beat my school's rivals 50-0. So Breon Pass is a different animal. I think he had like 4 touchdowns in the first round or something like that. But I know with those 2 programs like Shelby and Reedsville, that would always be fun to watch. And I've never seen something like Breon Pass. Like, he's not going to college to play football. He is out there he could have just not played, and he is playing so hard every single week. And he's not even playing college football. It's really something crazy to watch.
He could, but I mean, he's one of the state's best athletes. Your mom asked if they've announced the locations. Not yet. I mean, it's getting soon. So I mean, they have some options. This year probably would be a great time to have it in the open, the big stadiums, to get as many fans that they can spread out. But we don't know yet. They went basketball. They did it at the high school, so we don't know just yet and stuff. So we'll see. We'll see if the High School Athletic Association says something whenever the governor possibly says some other stuff. So
has Wallace or North? Wallace has lost 3 games, I think. They lost to Havelock, they lost to East Duplin, and they lost to Clinton. I think Northeastern's only lost is Havelock, I think. So Wallace kind of had, like I said, they're a young team. They kind of had a down year, but I mean, they're in the second round of the playoffs. That kind of just shows their tradition. Even when they're having a down year, they're in the second round of the playoffs.
We'll go to 2AA, number 4 Croatan at number 1 Washington Pampack. Jack, they beat Kinston in just a shootout.
Kinston going into that game had allowed 0 points all season, and then in the final 2 games of Kinston's season, they allowed 98 points in the final 2 games.
Number 3 Southwest Edgecombe versus number 2 South St. Paul's. And then a big battle of Davidson County, number 5 Oak Grove against number 1 North Davidson. Oak Grove was kind of they're a newer school. They basically their students came from North Davidson, so that's going to and Coach Holcomb was the former coach at North Davidson, so they're playing. He's playing his some of his former assistants and Coach Flynn there at North Davidson, and then number 7 Salisbury at number 6 Burns. And Tally, I'll come back to you. In our opening thing, you interviewed Jaylen Walker at the VTO, and I guess you're probably keeping up with him. I was at his announcement a few weeks ago where he signed with Georgia. So how cool is that to think, I've interviewed a future Georgia Bulldog?
Oh, it's super cool. I was a little disappointed he didn't come to Carolina, but Georgia's fine.
But that Salisbury Burns game, it's going to be really exciting because Burns, they're in Cleveland County, and Cleveland County, for those 4 schools are Shelby, Crest, Kings Mountain, and Burns. They play a special type of football there. So, that's going to be some good games. You guys got anything on those?
I think Croatan could keep it closer with Washington than people think. They are so physical and big. I think they're going to try to milk the clock and limit Washington's possessions. I could see that being maybe a 10-point game, 2-score 10-point game, something around that, somewhere around that.
Well, we're going to drop into 3, and we had this comment for a while, and he's about right. This looks like it's a very big possibility, and there will be a lot of explosive fireworks if that game happens. But we got a few games to get to that point, so don't want to look ahead. But in the 3A division, you got rivals number 8 Eastern Alamance against number 5 Western Alamance. Number 3 Havelock comes up to number 2 Northwood. Number 4 Charlotte Catholic at number 1 AC Reynolds. Number 7 Monroe against number 3 Kings Mountain. And that group, they've got a lot of great teams. Havelock, they've got Camaro Edmonds back, and he is, he's dynamite. I mean, he had 4 touchdowns coming off an ankle injury. He ran for 2 and then returned 2 kickoffs back, heading to UNC late in probably less than, maybe in a month. He will be starting in Chapel Hill. Charlotte Catholic, you can never count out the Cougars. That bunch down there, they're solid group, and they don't have Weddington in the bracket, so they're probably glad that they don't see the Warriors in that bracket. So I wouldn't count out Catholic. And then the last game, Monroe and Kings Mountain, you got Shalik Punch Knotts, who's probably one of the best wide receivers in the country there with Monroe, and going to Kings Mountain and playing a really good Mountaineer team that has really played well and got a really good quarterback themselves in Ethan Reed. So, guys, you got anything on those games?
I just have a little fun fact. Northwood knocked out West Carteret in the basketball Eastern Championship and then in the football playoffs, first round of the playoffs. So, that kind of sucks for for West Carteret. Got knocked out by the same team in football and basketball.
Yeah, there's a lot of talent in this state, and with it being played in the spring, a lot of the elite guys have moved on and early enrolled. So you got to give credit to kids like a Cam Edmonds and staying and wanting to play with his boys, as he calls them. A few others that have decided to stick around and play their senior season. So we're going to jump into 3AA. Number 5 Lee County versus number 1 Cleveland. Number 7 Clayton against number 3 West Brunswick. In the West, number 8 Dudley at number 5 TC Roberson. And then the big one in 3AA, number 3 Weddington against number 2 Mount Tabor. So some good games there. Jack, we saw Carter Wyatt, the big linebacker at West Brunswick, at camp, and he's blew up recruiting wise. I mean, he's going to be one of the top recruits in the state coming up. And you look at Weddington and Mount Tabor, 2 undefeated teams. Somebody's going to go home Friday night with a loss, but that could be a regional championship game there.
Yeah, I saw Carter Wyatt play Topsail this year, and he has everything that you need as an inside linebacker. I mean, he defended passes. He's a great tackler. He rushed the pass, and they were going against a Wake Forest commit, so at quarterback. So I was really impressed by him. And then Lee County, I saw them play J.H. Rose this past week in the playoffs, and that team that they have, I'm blanking on the wide receiver's name, but he has a couple offers from like Army, Navy, Coastal Carolina, I think. He was great for them, and their quarterback was able to handle a lot of adversity and be a very talented J.H. Rose team who was without Michael Allen, but a high-powered, very athletic J.H. Rose team. So,
Tally, it's odd not seeing anybody in your region, that Concord, Annapolis region. I mean, Cottonville had a great year last year. A.L. Brown, it's just kind of different not seeing your wonders in the second round. So I had to just double check.
I definitely expected them to be there. And, I mean, we were up 14-0 in the first quarter. Everyone was expecting a blowout, and it just kind of got away from us there in the fourth quarter.
That sucks.
Well, we're going to head in 4A. Maybe we'll get some comments from Chelsea since we got some Raleigh area teams in here. So 4A, we got number 4 Richmond at I believe number 1 Cardinal Gibbons, number 3 New Bern at number 2 Southview. The West, number 5 Hillside versus number 1 Grimsley, and number 6 Butler at number 2 Providence. So we know what the Richmond Cardinal Gibbons game is going to be. It's going to be really exciting. New Bern, they got a standout defensive lineman, KJ Sampson, who's blown up. We seen him when he had about like 3 or 4 offers. Now he's getting offers from Ohio State, UNC, Florida.
Yeah.
So he's really blown up. They take on Southview, and then in the West you got number 1 Grimsley led by Travis Shaw, who's a monster. That's all I got to say. You know, he's a top 10 player in the whole state, a 5-star, can go anywhere in the world for school. And then how odd is it to see Butler in the small 4A? Butler and their championship history playing Providence. So Chelsea, do you know much about Cardinal Gibbons?
To be honest, Gibbons is one of those schools where until this year I didn't know they were what they were in football. You know, I didn't know they were so good. So kind of shocked. But, you know, just seeing them this year, you know, beat the teams in the Cap 7.
I saw them.
They proved themselves.
Yeah. I saw them play New Bern last year in the playoffs. Again.
The interns are doing really good, so you're making Chris proud, me and Chris proud and stuff. So I don't know. Mr. Sparry, what are you replying to? No more. What are you replying to?
No more. I saw Cardinal Gibbons play last year in the playoffs, and like for a high school team, they are one of the most passing high school teams that I've seen over the past couple of years. I mean, they air it out. I mean, they definitely threw the ball more than running, which is not very common around North Carolina high school football. They're fun to watch. So, and they obviously are efficient at it. So, they're a very fun team to watch.
We'll head to the last one, 4AA, number 8 Pinecrest at number 5 Wake Forest, number 3 Hoggard at number 2 Roseville, number 5 Vance at number 1 Huff, and number 3 Panther Creek at number 2 Myers Park. I know Roseville has gotten a lot of press. They've got a lot of good kids. Chelsea, I know you know a lot of them. The quarterback, Byron Brown,
Josiah Henderson,
Noah Rogers, a wide receiver that's starting to get offers from everybody. Josiah Henderson, a big lineman for him, he's starting to get a lot of notice. So they're taking on Hoggard, who Hoggard usually has a good football program down there, but this could be an interesting to see who advances in the eastern part of it. And then, like I said, the the Vance Huff rematch. I mean, you know, a lot of people, you would think they might take the team that lost.
Flip a coin.
Yeah, I mean, that's hard to pick. I'm glad I don't have to bet or pick or have some kind of contest where I have to pick who wins this one, because it could go either way. And then Panther Creek, poor Panther Creek's in the Charlotte Invitational, because you got Vance, Huff, and Myers Park, and you got Panther Creek there. So, guys, y'all got anything on this side of the 4AA?
No, like you said, with the Rolesville players, you know, that's who I'm cheering for. So I'm hoping they can advance.
But like I said, we don't know anything about
Great.
when.
This is, I definitely think.
Jack, was you talking? Oh no, might have lost signal. But I'm like,
My internet is being
oh,
weird. It's like
well,
glitching up and
we're
delayed.
trying we hopefully will find out when or and where the state championships are going to be held. So we haven't got that information yet. So that's the football part of it. I'm sure do we have any baseball and softball and
I know
track,
soccer's going on too.
girls soccer going
Our
on?
girls soccer team.
Any fans out there want to give a shout out to their teams?
Go Wonders. Jack, when is the first baseball game? Is it Monday? The first day they can hold games?
I don't know. Jack's having some problems.
Yes, I know that our school, our first baseball game is on Monday, and they're getting to play at the new Cannonballer Stadium downtown, so that's super exciting.
Well, we got a question for Tally. Let's see.
How many more strikeouts?
I think
Record. Oh, unfortunately,
I think baseball starts next week.
Wait, what?
Baseball next week.
Okay, yeah.
Are you a little behind us? Yeah, he's went off. Yeah, South Granville, they usually have a good team too and stuff. So, I mean, this year's been so action packed with just one after sport. I mean, it's hard to keep up and stuff. So, I mean, it's like the weather. One day it's warm, next day it's warm. Today it was cold. It felt like when I used to play softball at Starmount. We'd had some cold afternoons in practice and be out there in sweats and everything. So
yeah, we've avoided the cold game so far, but it looks like tomorrow's going to be our first cold game. Like in the 40s and 50s tomorrow. So
weird thing. So I don't know. Jackie's lost somewhere in rich lands. He said his internet was messing up and stuff. But if for you guys that are wondering where Chris is, Chris has officially moved to the Sunshine State. So he's he's actually probably driving his car to Florida because he was back up in North Carolina, had to drive his car back down to his new residence down in Florida. But he's still going to be around on the show and do some stuff on the site. So with the wonder of the internet and social media and the all these the national whatever that's allows you to watch games everywhere, federation, whatever. It's been a good thing for him and stuff. So, Chris, when we miss you, maybe when you get settled down there, you'll make us very envious of doing. I've done said you probably are going to set your computer out and have that beautiful backyard pool lit up and make us all jealous that we ain't there in the palms and stuff down there at your new residence. So girls, y'all got anything final thoughts?
No, I'm hoping to make it to a playoff game, but got to see the schedule.
Well, you might have some options up there in Raleigh and stuff. Tally, what's your plans? Are you just gonna play softball and stuff?
Well, I do have.
It won't be long till graduation.
Yeah. This is the final stretch. I'm just trying to make it to the AP exams, and then that's it. Then I'll be headed to Chapel Hill here in the fall.
That's exciting.
Let's see. No, I don't think Jack went to bed. He had internet problems. So, well, we're going to wrap it up, and next week we'll talk some more high school football. Maybe we'll have some baseball and softball news as well. We always have maybe some basketball news with things going on. So, thanks for joining us. I'll say goodnight for Chelsea and Tally and Jack. I'm Dina King. Visit NC Preps for your all your high school athletic news. So good night, everybody. Y'all take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Talking